Thank you so much for choosing us. Then let's start here, because former South African ambassador to the United States, Ebrahim Rasool, has discussed his expulsion with International Relations Minister Ronald Lamola. Our report will now be handed over to President Cyril Ramaphosa. Rasool arrived back in the country yesterday after the White House declared him persona non grata, or unwelcome, particularly for criticizing President Donald Trump and his administration. Ziyanda Ngcobo is at the seat of government, the Union Buildings. The anticipated message to come through, perhaps from the Justice Minister, or rather from the International Relations Minister, should I say, Ziyanda, as well then as the President. Do we anticipate to hear anything today or in the coming days and weeks?
It's highly unlikely, Arabile, given just how much the government is really trying to tone down any more comments coming after, of course, Ebrahim Rasool was declared a persona non grata. In fact, some quarters within the government believe that that hero's welcome, that rigmarole that you saw at the Cape Town International Airport actually made things worse. But we did get a two-sentence statement from the Department of International Relations, and it reads, Arabile, that the Ministry of International Relations and Cooperation confirms that Minister Lamola has met with Ambassador Ebrahim Rasool following his return from the United States of America. Following the meeting, a formal report will be submitted to the President for his consideration. Pending this, the Ministry or Department will not engage in any public engagements on the matter. And that's where Durko ends. It would seem that they're really trying to avoid any further public comments, given how every time something is said publicly, there is a reaction either directly from Donald Trump or from Elon Musk, as we saw yesterday, to whatever is said. And so we saw Elon Musk as well, quoting a video of EFF MP Julius Malema singing at their Human Rights Day commemoration. And so there is a lot of attention on South Africa right now, and one political analyst believes that Rasool shouldn't have said anything and should have arrived back into the country quietly.
Ideally speaking, he should have not said anything at the airport. He should have just arrived and sort of greeted all his friends and acquaintances and so on, but did not making any type of statement like he did. Because that is, in a sense, perpetuating what he did at the Mistra webinar. What many people don't understand is that the ambassador is not a politician. The ministers and the presidents and so on, they are the political side of it. And the ambassador plays a very specific role, and I think where he failed is that he did not draw that distinction between his role as a politician, which was what he has been all the years, and the role of an ambassador, which is a much more facilitative type of person, and not so much a person who talks about policy or tries to make policy or to determine policy in the context of an embassy. That's simply not the role of an embassy.
And I can tell you, Arabile, there's lots of discussions about who should possibly take over from Rasool and how quickly, Pretoria should replace Rasool. But at the same time, there isn't a US ambassador to South Africa as well. So there are two vacancies that are open on both sides. There's also talk and threats of, closing down the US consulate on Sandton Drive if, the city of Johannesburg pursues changing the name of Sandton Drive to Leila Khalid Drive. At the same time, however, the South African government insists that it will continue trying to, push through those doors and continue with negotiating with the White House. However, there are some quarters that believe that this will be a futile exercise, as has been seen with what has happened with Rasool. And so what happens next rests with President Cyril Ramaphosa, despite the fact that perhaps some of his GNU partners, the DA in particular, believe that this should be a moment where there is consensus from the Government of National Unity.
Trying to find that consensus in any quarter is possibly the hardest part right now. Ziyanda Ngcobo, thank you so much for that reporting then out of the seat of government, of course, then in Pretoria, outside then that building, the Union Buildings, that is, of course, there. We'll continue to follow this one because there's so much to it. There's so many legs to that story.